Vivian Marino is a wife and mother to 4 children living in New Orleans, Louisiana. She graduated from St. Mary's Dominican High School, Louisiana State University with a bachelor's degree in science, and then attended the University of New Orleans, where she received her master's degree in exercise physiology. She has done research at Tulane University School of Public Health, worked as a personal trainer, and has now done a 180 in writing for the Clarion Herald and NOLA Catholic Parenting. Her favorite things include spending time with her family, weekend dinners with her husband, hiking whenever she gets the chance, and praying the daily rosary with her favorite online community, many Hail Marys at a time. She said that if this episode were a masterclass, it would simply but powerfully be called God's Providence. Vivian, welcome to Modern Catholic Family, and tell us why that title.
First of all, thank you for having me. Thank you for inviting me. This is very exciting, very thrilling. I guess the title, the reason why I would choose that is because so many encounters in my life to get me to where I am now is all been by God's providence. And I love the quote by St. Paul, John Paul II, which states, "In the designs of providence, there are no mere coincidences." In looking back in my life, there are no mere coincidences for everything that has happened. And once you realize and understand that and know that God has you, you know that everything's going to be okay.
It's so true. And I think we use that word coincidence kind of lightheartedly, right? Like it's almost flippant. It's kind of the way people use the word like. You just say it without even thinking about it. But if you truly stop and think about it, you're absolutely right. There are no coincidences, and things are lined up in your life by God's providence. Can you share some of the things that you've experienced, or some of the things in your life that have happened to you that really have kind of taken you back?
Yes, I will give you the perfect example. So I've done the Camino twice, and the first time I did it was last in summer of 2024. I decided to do it with my siblings and some other friends, and we started the trip, and we all decided we were going to start walking together. But over time, you separate. Some people walk at a slower pace and whatnot. And what people don't tell you about the Camino when you envision it is they have little like stops along the way to where you can get something to eat, you can get a drink or whatnot. So I kept on going. Well, by the end of the day, so each day you walk probably about 12 to 15 miles, and then you reach your resting point to where you'll stay there for the night. There's no starting point, there's no stopping point whenever you get there. So we were about to come up at a point, and I was by myself, and there was a fork in the road. So I could either go right or I could go left. However, if I went the wrong way, I could have been walking to the next town, which was another 15 or so miles, which I did not want to do.
Whoa.
I will also say I'm fluent in Spanish. That was actually my first language. So, I can read everything, but I just still couldn't decipher which way to go. So I saw, what looked like a father and son next to me. And there weren't a lot of English speaking people, many foreigners, a lot of Spanish people. So I turned to them politely. I was very nervous, where to go. And I said, permiso, yo no sé dónde yo estoy, like, where do I need to go? And at that moment, the father said, excuse me, ma'am, we do not speak a lick of Spanish. We're tired. And I was like, holy cow. I was like, you speak English. I said, I don't know where to go. Like, do we go right? Do we go left? And he's like, we're going to go right. And I said, wait a minute. I was like, where are you from? And he said, ma'am, I live in Mississippi, but I was born and raised in New Orleans. I was like, you've got to be kidding me. Like, you've got to be kidding me. And so it was a man, he was in his 70s. He had 8 children, and he was walking with his youngest son, who was probably in his 30s. But to preface that, right before I got to that point, I was by myself, praying, and I had been crying because I had left, my 4 children at home and my husband, and I was going to be gone about 19 days. And along the walk, I came to the realization did I need to go this far to do this? When I was on the Camino, I almost longed to be back home. I have a prayer spot at home
Mhm.
that I love and adore. And at that moment, when I was in Spain, I missed being at home. It was a weird
Mm.
dichotomy of things. And then I told myself, well, I didn't come this far to only come this far. I was talking to myself.
Mhm.
So I had sunglasses on, I was weeping. And then I come to the cross in the road. And then I started panicking because I didn't want to walk another 15 miles. So when I found the Father and Son, and then knowing that he was from New Orleans, I just felt at home. I felt peaceful. Well, then the story continues. So I said, do you mind if I walk with you too? So we started walking. And the thing about the Camino is that it gets very deep quickly. You start talking surface level questions, and then you know that everyone is there for a reason. So we started talking, and
Mm.
he explained to me that he had 8 children. Um, he didn't think of himself as a good father, and he wasn't into his faith as much, but he had a reversion. And along with that reversion, he decided to become a deacon, and he was in the diaconate program, and he was one of the oldest people in the diaconate program. So he was talking about that and how he had changed his life. And, then I started talking to him and weeping to him that, just about my journey to get here. Did I need to do this? I'm glad I did this. And it was at that moment that God knew, like, I needed a father, someone to come and tell me that,
Wow.
it's going to be okay. And not only a father, but
Mm.
a father from my hometown that I could relate to, that I could
Yes.
understand to, that I could say different hallmarks or different words, and he would totally get me. And so at the end of the trip,
Yeah.
when we got to our destination, I gave him a hug, and I knew his name. I knew where he's from. I casually told him that I wrote for the Clarion Herald, and I never saw him again until on the way home
Mhm.
on the airplane from Madrid. It was about 10 hours. I got an email from my editor, and he said, there's this man who's trying to get in touch with you. He told me his name, that he had met you along the Camino. Long story short, we connected, and I wrote an article about him. And so he
Oh,
said,
wow.
Wow.
That's cool.
yeah. And so he told me, you know, I asked him, in the interview, why were you doing this? And he said, I was not a good father. And the son that he had walked with when the son was younger had written him a letter saying that he was a horrible father, all these different things. And he kept the letter. Well, at the end of the trip, he didn't tell his son this. He carried the letter with him. And at the end of the trip, when they got to St. James's Cathedral, he pulled out the letter and he said to his son, do
Oh,
you
Wow.
remember this? And he said, I do. I said, Dad, he said, Dad, why did you keep that? That's over. I forgave you. And he's like, because I needed to forgive myself. And I needed to tell you that I'm so sorry. I've changed and I'm not that person anymore. And it was just, the whole
wow.
moment just came full
Oh,
circle. And that right there is God's providence. I needed a father at that moment in time. And, he needed to be with his son at that moment in time. And it was like worlds colliding. So
Wow. Okay,
that's,
excuse me while I go get a box of tissue.
I know. I'm
yeah,
like welling up here. That's
yes,
wow.
yes, it was,
It's so powerful. Your story's not just true about you needing a father and he needed to be there for his son, but you needed a father, and in God's own miraculous way, he sent you this man who thought he wasn't qualified.
yeah,
And he
yeah,
didn't think that he himself, right, was a good enough father. And yet not only was he there for his son, but he was there for you too.
Mm,
I never thought about it that way
yeah.
until you just said that. You were
Oh, it's
100%
so
right and
powerful.
accurate.
That's why we do
Yes, yes,
podcasts like this. It's therapy for the guest as well.
Oh, and me.
yes,
I'm having a moment.
yes, yes. But he's in Mississippi. He's not that far, and he became a deacon, and he's just living his life. And I think he went to
Incredible.
Ghana just
That's
So
recently and
you
did a missionary trip over there. So
This man, he went to Ghana.
yes, yes, yes.
Oh, wow.
that's
So
cool.
his
Mhm.
journey is clearly not over.
Yeah.
Correct.
So you said though, when you started that story, that you have done the Camino twice. So the first time you did it with your siblings, what was your second experience like? And did you have as profound moments?
Okay, so my second experience, so I did the Camino, and then the following year, which is this past summer, the same group decided, my siblings and other friends, that we were going to do the Camino Portuguese, the Portuguese route. And then this time my husband's like, well, you're not going to be gone 19 days again, So I said, why don't y'all come with me? So we took 2 of the 4 children. The ones that are in college had to stay behind. And I said, let's do this. We're going to do the Camino. We were gone for a while, about 18 days. And then my husband has always had a devotion to Fatima. So I said, you know what? We are going to make that work. We're going to make Fatima work, and we're going to do Fatima first, and then we'll do the Camino, because I know at the end of the Camino, you'll probably be tired, and I want you to get the full experience of Fatima. And then that's what we did.
Mm.
And that was
okay. So I'm intrigued
wonderful.
about you. I'm intrigued about the fact that you took your kids on the Camino. How was it first of all, how old were your kids at the time of the experience, and how was it being with your kids on the Camino?
Okay, 2 good questions. So the oldest is he's a senior now in high school, so he was 17.
Okay.
He was not very happy about going, because this was going to be the summer between, junior and senior year. He was going to miss out on all the things. But I told him, those will be here when you get back. And then the youngest is in 6th grade.
In 6th grade. Okay. So
Yeah,
similar
6th grade,
ages
11.
actually to our kids. Sorry about the dog barking.
Yeah.
Oh, that's okay.
How do they do? Because I think these are things that, so many adults will think, oh, I really would love to do the Camino. I'll wait till the kids are out of the house. But you just included your whole family in this incredible experience.
Yes. So I will say, it was over the course of 7 days, we were walking 100 kilometers. There were a lot of complaints, which I knew there were going to be a lot of complaints in the situation. I was mentally prepared for that. But what I will tell you is that it was the gift of time, of conversation, because you can bring whatever you want to your phones, whatnot, but your phone is going to die eventually when you're walking 7 hours a day. And just to have those conversations, my brother came along. He lives in Austin. My sister came along. She lives in Dallas. And it got my son time, to spend with them, walking and talking and asking questions and whatnot. My husband and I would be walking and praying the rosary. They'd probably be rolling their eyes, but they were along with us. They had to stay with us. So it was, I feel right before that, I was kind of worried about him. Like, is he going to be ready for college? The maturity level, but something during that trip, he changed. He grew up a little bit. I think he appreciated the fact of all of us being together. I think he appreciated, even though he complained about the walk, I think he enjoyed it. And, he goes to a Catholic school here, Jesuit high school. And one day we were walking and he was complaining. He's like, why do they call this St. James? It should be St. Peter. He's a real deal. And then he started going over like the catechism, but in complaining. And my husband and I look at each other, we're like in his complaints, he's speaking the truth. And he's not even knowing. It's just innate in him that he knows all these things. And we just let him vent, because whatever he was saying, Peter was a rock and this and this and this. And I was like, okay, well, here we go,
Preach it, brother.
Exactly.
Yes.
That's awesome.
So it was fun. It was
That's
a lot
awesome.
of fun. But I mean, I will tell anyone, if you want to do it with your children, do it. You go at your own pace. There's plenty of places to stop. You see families, you see people of all ages.
So I want to go back to something we talked about actually in your bio about the rosary. Tell us how you started praying the rosary. Why is that even a thing in your life now? Was there a time when it wasn't?
Yes. So I started praying the rosary probably around 2020. That was a time in, just in the world where everything was divisive. And I decided to myself, I needed to filter, my social media, who I was following, whatnot. And what happened too prior that is that I felt a nudge to get closer to Mary. I'd always been like, well, why do I need to go to the mother when I can just go to the big man upstairs? But something put in my heart that I needed to start praying. So I bought a medal and I started wearing it. And I thought maybe that would help. So I did that. Then I went on to Instagram and I found this account that my friend kind of told me about. It's called Many Hail Marys at a Time. And so it's
Mhm.
two sisters, not nuns, but sisters, that they started
Yeah.
this in 2018. And what they do is they pray the rosary every day. And usually they invite a guest. And at the end, they ask the guest to tell them the rosary story. So the way I was is that I wanted to hear the story first before I started praying. Like I needed to know, like, convince me. I should have never been like that,
Mhm.
convince me. So over time, I heard enough stories that I didn't need to listen to that anymore. I just wanted to pray instead. And so I've been doing it with them since 2020, every day live with them. And if I don't catch them live, if I'm on vacation, then I do the repray. And I've become close, with the two sisters. I send them, Christmas gifts or king cakes from New Orleans because their gift of time is just wonderful. One of the moms,
Yeah.
one of the girls, Kristen, has 8 children. The other one has 4 children, and they do that. They do this faithfully every morning at, 6:45 a.m. live. And so,
Wow.
now it's just like, I mean, I always have the rosary with me. I cannot imagine not doing it daily. It's just something that you do. I want to do it. It's just, it's like they always say, like holding the rosary is like holding Mary's hand. And it truly is.
Yeah.
Mhm. Mhm.
Now, have there been times in your life where um, praying the rosary got you through challenges? Because I mean, I know that's why a lot of people turn to the rosary in the first place.
Yes. Just with my children in general, you know how it is. Something can always come up. And I've just learned that I can't sit there and stress out and worry about things. I need to let God handle it. Oh, Jesus, I surrender myself to you. Please take care of everything. Like literally, I don't
Mhm.
want to know. Please handle everything. You know how to handle it best. And turning to the rosary is just my safeguard and saying, like, I trust in you. I know you know all the details. I know you're going to be able to handle it. I just need to be a good mom and a good wife. That's my focus right now. And you can take care of everything. And sometimes I struggle, and my husband and I talk about this. Like, that's fine. He wants to handle everything, but why does he want to handle everything? And
Mhm.
I just need to let it be. He wants to do it.
Yeah.
I'm going to let him do it. And he's going to do it the right way,
Mhm.
better than I could ever do it.
Mhm. That's one of Jim's
So, yeah,
favorite prayers. "Oh, Jesus, I surrender myself to you. Take care of everything."
Yep.
And it's
it's the
powerful
only
and it's
way.
short.
Mhm.
And so it's easy to remember. You can say it walking into work. You can say it dropping your kids off at school. You can say it as they walk out the door on a Friday night to go be with their friends. It's an easy, quick, and powerful addition to your daily prayer.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. 100%. And I mean, just in those moments when you don't know what to say or how to handle the situation, I just think about, like, before I started this, I was like, please, Jesus, I surrender myself to you. Please take care of everything. Give me the words. Come, Holy Spirit.
Yeah.
Yes. Have you noticed any changes in your family once you started consistently praying the rosary?
Yes, I feel that I have gotten a little bit calmer, which, would affect
Mhm.
everyone. And then about
Yes.
2 years ago, I want to say, I told my husband, I said, we need to start praying this as a family. And we need to start praying together. And so at first,
Yeah,
prayer is very intimate. It's weird because I think I've been married almost
it is.
23 years. We have 4 children together. He's seen me at my best. He's seen me at worst. Like, why is this weird? So we sat down and I said, we're just going to do it. And he prays all the time, on his own. And so I was like, let's just do it. In the first 20 seconds, it was a little bit awkward. And then after that, it was fine. And I said, and I was thinking to myself, why did I ever let this stop us? So what we
Sure.
started doing is that every Sunday we would do the rosary. And I invite my children to come. If they don't want to sit by us, that's fine. I ask for their intentions. They'll tell us. And like my daughter now is in college, so she'll FaceTime in. And I have a nephew who lives in Texas, and he'll call in, and we do it every Sunday at 8:30. I send out the little text. It's called Rosary Group. If you can't make it, send me your intentions. If you want to push back the time, we'll push back the time for you. And it's just
Wow.
it's really been wonderful. It really, really has.
That's beautiful. And how wonderful to have it inclusive of other family members. You've got your children,
Hmm.
but your nephew's involved. You invite them, you ask for their intentions. That's
Hmm.
really a lovely, I'm going to use the word tradition here, but right, a tradition you're starting in your home, but it's so much more than tradition. You're
Yes.
uh, calling it a tradition maybe so your kids will, maybe get on board a little bit faster.
Hmm.
But as they grow, they will continue this because it will just feel like this is what we do and this is how we connect and this is how our prayers are heard.
Yes. I
Yeah.
hope I hope that's the case. I really do. Our oldest one sometimes I don't know if he goes to church or whatnot when he's up at school, but I will send I'll say any intentions and he'll send it to us. And that's how I know his heart is by his intentions. And he sends them to
Yes.
me. I don't say anything like, oh, tell me about it. I'm just like, okay, we're gonna pray for you.
Yeah.
Yes. Yes.
That's awesome.
I know.
Yeah. Go ahead. Sorry. Oh, okay.
I
Yeah.
think
Yeah.
I'm hugging the mic right now.
No, you're good. You're good. I was actually going to get back to the title of the master class, if it were master class,
Mhm.
God's Providence. What other times in your life have you experienced God's providence?
Okay. And this is how I got started writing. So I'm going to tell you this story because I love stories. So in about
Same.
2000, I saw an ad about where you adopt a Holocaust victim. You adopt them. It's called, I think it's Illumination of Light. I have to remember the title of it. And so you go on there, you click a
Huh.
link, and they assign you a Holocaust victim. So I received this woman. Her name is Vega Hassenfratz. She died in the Holocaust. She was about 63 years old. So anyway, you pray for her for a week and then you move on. Although after a week, I felt like I could not stop praying for her. I mean, how could I just abandon this
Right.
person? So I kept praying for
Mm.
her. For 2 years, I prayed for her until one day, this is completely random. I said, if this is real and you can hear me and I'm praying to you, can you send me a sign? And this is so random. I said, send me a piece of Ghirardelli sea salt chocolate. Like, then I'll really know that that's you.
Can I get some of that too? That's
Yeah,
one of my
exactly.
favorites.
I'm
Everybody
like,
can pray
I'll
for that.
let me
Yeah.
know if that's you. So a couple of days passed by. I didn't even think about it. And my daughter, it was like a Tuesday. She was still in high school, and she said, at 5 o'clock, she's like, "Can you take me to Party City?" I was like, "Absolutely not. I'm not going to Party City in the middle, like at 5 o'clock rush hour to get whatever you need." And she's like, "Please, mom, I really need
Yeah.
this." And I was like, "Oh, I just want to be home." She couldn't drive at that time. But I said, you know what? This child never asked me for anything. And so I'm going to take her to Party City. So I take her to Party City. I'm in line and I was like, I just do not want to be here. Like, I just want to be home doing what I need to do. So I'm looking around and Party City has just junk everywhere. Like you're waiting in line. They have all these
Yeah.
different things. So I turn around and they have this big bowl. And I look at the bowl. It was filled with like gummy candy. On the top of the bowl was a piece of Ghirardelli sea salt chocolate.
Oh
And
my gosh.
I looked at it and I was like, and my daughter was like, what's wrong with you? Like, you just turned white. And I was like, I don't have the words to tell you, but I will tell you at some point. So I came home and I just decided to just write this whole experience down. And I don't even know why I did this, I contacted my friend who's a writer, and I said, do you know anyone who works for the Clarion Herald? She gave me the information. I emailed and I said, you know what? This is something that happened to me. If it can increase someone's faith to keep on praying, so be it.
Mm.
I sent it and went about my business. The next day, the assistant editor called me and she said, we got your email. And I was like, oh, it's probably just not that good. She probably thinks I'm crazy. But she said, we love the piece so much. We not only want to publish it, but we want to hire you as a writer. And I was just like,
Wow.
I was like, what? Like, I was blown away because I told
Wow.
no one that I had done this.
Yeah.
And, you
Yeah.
know, in the past, I've always loved to write. But I was always told that I was not like a very creative person. I was more like a science, math type based person. So when I got to
Yeah.
college, I took 2 English classes and I had this wonderful professor and she really taught me. And I just kind of kept that because I would write for Tulane. I would do like abstracts and stuff for journals or whatnot, but that was more scientific writing. And, you know, when somebody tells you you're not good at something, 90% of the time, that's the one thing that you're good at. You know, I've learned that. I taught my children that. You know, like, don't let anyone like belittle you in the sense of, you know, anything's possible. So after that moment, I started writing for them and it's just been the best. It's been the best thing ever. I just love it.
That's awesome. What do you continue to write about after
So
the chocolate?
I wrote about you know, my Camino trip, about
Yeah.
you know, the deacon that I met. I just wrote another piece this time about Fatima, something that happened there. It's just every time I don't think I'm going to have something always pops up.
Wow.
So
Oh, that's
it's God's
fantastic.
providence. He always gives me
It
something
is
to write
God's
about.
providence.
There you
And
go.
so now you're writing also for, I'm going to get this wrong, the NOLA Catholic parents.
Yeah, NOLA
Is that
Catholic
right?
Parenting.
Did I get that right?
Yes, it's a blog. And I always
Okay.
preface that doesn't mean that I'm an expert by any means. It's just things that in parenting that come up and, you know, we write about. So yeah.
Yeah.
But that's such an important topic these days. And of course, you know, we're a family podcast. So we're talking a lot about things that involve parenting and whatnot. But it's not only is it important, it's so multi-leveled, right? Because your parenting goes back to who you are as a person, your marriage, your you know, relationship with each individual child. There's no real kind of, I'm going to say, booklet, right, or instruction manual. And so to get anyone's input and find out how they're doing it and how they're having success is so vital
Yeah.
to all of us.
I absolutely agree with you. And like listening into your podcast, it's, you know, we almost need a tribe, you know, to protect our children, to protect our marriage, you know, getting
Yeah.
other ideas from people as to what you do. You know, I'm in an Alexio Divina group. We meet like every Monday. It's a small group, like 11 ladies. And so we kind of, I have them to bounce off of and share. But, you know, a lot of people are of this world that sometimes it's hard to like find that connection.
Yeah.
Yes. Yes. So you live in New Orleans, which, you know, is a very Catholic city historically and still to this day, right? I mean, when you and I spoke a few days ago, we were talking about the community that you live in. That sounds so incredibly amazing. What would you tell people who are maybe listening and live in an area that they don't feel like has as strong of a Catholic community, maybe as you do? How do they find outlets or ways to be involved or places to get advice
Sure. I
on
would.
parenting, on Catholic parenting?
Yes. I mean, now on, you know, on YouTube, on Instagram, well, actually like Instagram, there's so many live platforms that you can join, like a many Hail Marys, um, that you can join live, that you can pray with. And then what happens is you start connecting with those people. So for instance, on many Hail Marys, everyone lists their intentions and you get to know them they tend to repeat the same intentions, same with us. And then on the side, we connect. And, for instance, one of the girls that I went on the first Camino with, we connected through many Hail Marys. And so we went on the Camino
Oh,
together.
wow.
And
That's
so,
cool.
it's connecting. There's different ways to connect now. I mean, and I know the internet can be a scary place, but it also can be a great place if you're in the right space, and I mean, I think about this all the time. There's a couple of moms that, can you pray for me today? I'm really struggling, with this child, or I'm struggling with this. And it's normal. I'll get a DM, I'll send them a DM. And it's just nice to know that you have someone in your corner helping you.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Mhm.
That's so necessary, especially when it comes to prayers. You've got to have those prayer warriors, right? That where you can send out any kind of request, good or bad, right? Like the prayer of Thanksgiving, this amazing thing happened, and just, thank God for me.
Correct.
Mhm.
Now, when it comes to writing, do I understand this correctly that you're actually in the middle of writing a book?
That is correct. That is correct.
Didn't know if that
Yeah.
was a secret or not.
No. But the reason why I started this is because the name of the book is The Annas. It's modern day watchwomen of the temple. And I'm highlighting women that embody the faith and devotion of Anna the prophetess. So basically, I did this for selfish reasons because, I go into adoration, I would see the same ladies, or I go into church, I would see these women that just seem holy. And I want to know, how did you get there? And now that that I think that you're there, what can you share with me that I wish I would have known at my younger self? And so it's a book that's not, I mean, it's people of all women of all ages. Um, you don't have to read it sequentially. You can pick it up and say, oh, I want to read about this person or that person. And some of them I've met on many Hail Marys. Some of them I've met at church. I just want to know, like, how did you get here? Can you help me? And
Yeah.
that's why I'm writing it,
Yeah.
and give in some advice. And
That's
then at
awesome.
the end, I write what I've learned from them. And so I'm picking up, little treasures from them that I can incorporate into my life, and there's so many things that I'm like, oh, wow, I never thought about that.
Yeah.
Mhm.
That's awesome.
Yeah, beautiful too.
Yeah.
Jim and I were having over our lunch today a conversation about how do you develop these
Mm.
skills in life, and can you develop and change as you go on through life. And so we were talking about something similar, like, oh well, what about so and so who seems so advanced from us? And Jim was like, yes, that person is in her 70s.
Yeah.
She has a lot more experience than we do.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yes.
So I love
Yes.
that you're grabbing all this information and preserving it for us so that we all
Mhm.
can learn.
Yeah.
Yes. I mean, like, there's this one
That's
lady that
awesome.
I would see at mass every day, like at 4 o'clock. Her name is Nancy. Just very elegant, just beautiful. And she's always sitting next to her husband, just so lovingly. And I kind of knew who she was. And I just went up to her and I just started talking to her. And, can I interview you for this book? And she said, sure. And she lives not too far from me. And so now we've just formed this, like, beautiful friendship. And, I'll go over there on a Saturday afternoon. I'll bring my daughter sometimes. And it's just, I've learned a lot from her. It's those kind of, it's sitting down, having good conversation, being apostles
Yeah.
of joy and just enjoying that moment.
Well, and good for you, because there's so many, we are an overscheduled society. And
Mhm.
I think, like Megan told me today that, we were thinking about going to a rodeo, actually, that's somewhat nearby tonight.
Mhm.
And it sounds exciting, but I got to be honest, at the end of the week, I'm kind of like, can we just not? Can we just sit? Kind of like you were saying at the beginning, can we just be quiet? Can we just
Yes,
relax
yes.
a little? But I say that because good for you to take the time to um want to know more about someone who's right in front of you,
Mhm.
right? I mean, I don't
Mhm.
have my phone on me, but this is always in front of us, right?
Right.
We
Mhm.
need to
Mhm.
take that away and focus on the people who are around
Human
us. There's so
connection.
many good stories
Mhm.
for the people
Yes.
who are sitting in the pew next to us. If we would just ask how they're doing,
Mhm.
or, to your point, you see ladies that you're wanting to emulate, and figure
Mhm.
out how do you become more like that. So you
Mhm.
don't get that unless you actually sit down and have genuine conversations,
Mhm.
and stop being too busy, stop being on screens.
Mhm.
I'll get off my
Yes.
soapbox now.
Okay.
Yeah. Megan's looking at me like, this is not what this is about.
But you
Mhm.
right, like, I mean, Vivian, you're making that human connection and you're sharing it with all of us because Jim and I say this all the time. Everyone has a story.
Yeah.
You just have to
Mhm.
stop and ask someone, hey, what's your story? Can you tell me? Can
Mhm.
we talk? And it is true that we do get caught up in the electronic world. So reconnecting
Yeah.
is
Yes.
powerful.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, I will tell you there
It's
was this
powerful.
I mean,
one,
don't get me wrong.
go ahead.
Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead.
Oh, no, I was saying
You're
about,
way more important than me.
it was about 2 years ago, during Lent, they would have mass every day in the evening, so I would go with my husband, like, every day, and there was this one girl who always popped in. She was in her mid-30s, by herself, just quietly, and I would tell my daughter, I was like, I've never seen her before, like, I wonder what her story is or whatnot," and she's like, "Mom, like, stop," or whatever. I was like, "I'm gonna talk to her one day." So one day I did. I went up to her and I was like, "Can we talk?" And I don't know why, but I feel like I need to talk to you, and we went to go have coffee. She was adopting a child from Colombia, and we
Wow.
formed this friendship, a daughter who
Wow.
was the same age as my daughter, and it was just like a
Wow.
beautiful
Providence.
conversation.
God's
Yes.
providence.
Yes.
Mhm.
You just
Yeah.
can't be scared. My kids are like, "You're such a weirdo." I'm like, "I don't care. I'm just gonna go do it." You know?
Be weird.
Yes.
Stay weird, Vivian.
Right? Yes.
Yes.
Kendra Tierney Norton told us that,
Yeah.
right? Like, she likes to
Yes.
keep Catholicism weird,
Yeah,
so
exactly.
Yes. Yes,
Yeah.
100%.
Yeah. Well, it makes me think back to, you being on the Camino, and in a way you were trained to get out of your comfort zone and not be
Yes.
afraid to talk to somebody, like, take a
Mhm.
left or take a right. I don't know. I gotta talk to these people, start talking to them in Spanish, and no, actually, right?
They're from your hometown. Yeah,
God's
Yeah,
providence.
yeah,
exactly.
That's beautiful.
yeah.
That's beautiful. Well, I'd love to get into the rapid fire round because I want to get to know you a little bit more, even
Sure.
more than we have already. What is one book that you're reading now, or one that you've read recently that you'd love to share on any subject?
Okay, I just finished reading, Christine Watkins' book. I wrote it down, Full of Grace: Stories of Miraculous Healings. It's about 7
Ooh.
people, it's really good. Their journey, through some stuff, and then, them going to Medjugorje and how it changed their life. And I will tell you some of
Wow.
these stories you will read and your mouth you'll just be like, "You did what? Like, you did this again?" It's so wild. It's a quick read. I read that. Actually, my husband gave me that for my birthday. And then, let's see, Cindy Peterson, she's another good one. Waiting for a Miracle, her whole story and journey of
Hmm.
losing 2 children, going to Medjugorje. That one was
Wow.
excellent as well. So
Wow.
yeah, those are the
It sounds
2.
like
And then
your next trip's
what's
gonna be to
that?
Medjugorje.
Yeah.
Your next
Well,
trip's
we're
probably gonna
actually
be to Medjugorje now.
yeah, well, that's funny because now we're going to actually Lourdes in June. We're gonna go to Lourdes.
Wow.
Ooh,
Yeah,
That's awesome.
yeah.
that's
So I'm
amazing.
excited. Yeah.
I love some good Catholic travel.
I know,
Yes, yes,
exactly.
yes.
Catholic
Yeah.
based travel.
Exactly.
That's awesome.
Mhm.
What is what's one resource, either online or offline, that you want to share with our audience to help them deepen their Catholic faith?
This is super easy. There is a, podcast. It's called Holy School of Faith. I think that's the name of the organization. It's
Mhm.
daily rosary meditations. Every day it's a father and a daughter, Mike and Teresa. I know 'em I feel like I know them, but we call them, Mike and Teresa. They do their meditations. They don't go by, sorrowful, glorious. They just do a theme. And
Okay.
each decade has different meditations. They're amazing. I'll give you an example. St. Maximilian Kolbe's feast day, they were in Auschwitz and they did it right outside of his starvation where he starved outside of that cell.
Wow.
Um,
Oh.
It's the
Wow.
meditations are amazing. So what happens is I'll do them during the day. My husband will do them during the day, and then we come back together and we'll say, "What did you think about that? Like, what are your thoughts?" Sometimes it's hard to remember
Mm.
because we do them so early in the morning, but we do them independently and then we come together. And the discussions that come from that, any age, is just it's incredible.
Wow.
Oh, wow. Okay, say the name one more time.
It's Holy School of Faith, and if you look on the
Holy Spirit.
on podcasts, Apple Podcasts, it's a daily rosary meditations. It's
Okay.
Mike, I can't pronounce his last name, and then Teresa's a daughter. And I mean, my husband and I will be
Okay.
like, "Oh my gosh, did you hear what Mike said? And did you know that Teresa had rheumatoid arthritis?" Like I feel like we know these people, you know?
I like people in your neighborhood, people you see at the grocery store.
All right.
Yeah.
Yes, yes,
That's awesome.
yes, it's true. Yes.
That's awesome. What's one piece of advice you would give to your younger self?
Pray the rosary. Just even if you don't feel like doing it, just do it. I think about so many times that I really could have used it in my life in college with that, boyfriend breakup or graduating, not knowing what I was going to do with my life, or
Yeah.
especially, and Megan, you can attest that you know this, in the middle of the night when you're up with newborns and everyone is sleeping and you're
Mhm.
by yourself and it's a scary time at night. You just,
Mhm.
you need help with your infant. And I wish I would have known then what I know now. However, when that
Mm.
creeps in, I feel like Mary whispers to my heart and she's like, "But you're here now. That's all that matters." Because with
Mm.
God, there's no space and time. It's right
Yeah.
here. So I'm right where I need to be, in that
Yeah.
Mm,
sense.
I love that advice.
Yeah.
I think that's really, really solid advice for not only younger people, because right, we asked you about what would you tell your younger self, but for anyone who's considering what could my next step be just to deepen my faith? What
Mhm.
what could it be? How do I even get started? And there are so many apps. If you don't know how to do the rosary, right? There are so many apps that lead you through it, or podcasts or things like that. So it's so simple to get plugged in, and you don't have to be afraid of it.
Yes, and you don't
Yeah.
have to also, people think that they have to be sitting down in a chair and, praying it. You don't. Put on an app when you're doing laundry. You can do it any time of the
Mhm.
day. And, after doing it for so many years, my life would not be the way it is now had I not prayed the rosary. I would have never
Yeah.
started writing. I would not be the mother that I am. I'm not saying that I'm the best mother, but I would just not be where I am today. The wife, the friends, it's all literally because of the rosary. I can, without a shadow of a doubt, tell you that. So, anyone who's on the fence, just do it. I promise you, it will change your life in the best way possible.
That's awesome.
Absolutely.
That's awesome. What's one final piece of advice based on anything we talked about today that you would leave with our audience?
Hmm. It would be, do a weekly rosary, and this goes to the busyness of our culture. Like on Sundays, hold that
Mhm.
tradition tight in your family. It's okay to say no, to doing certain
Yeah.
things. It's not going to kill
Yeah.
anybody. And I look now, with 4 children, we're rarely all together. And I look at my youngest, she's not
Right.
going to remember when we all lived together in the same house. So take the time, go to church together when you can, and just, take that time for silence, for solitude, for prayer of thanksgiving. That's what I would say.
Mm,
Beautiful. I
mhm.
love it.
I love it too.
Before we wrap up, would you mind praying with us?
Oh, I'd love to.
I was hoping you'd say that. In the name of the Father, and of the
Um,
Son, and of the Holy Spirit. Amen.
no.
Jesus, thank you so much for the gift of Vivian. Thank you for bringing her on the show today and sharing the joy of so many things like praying the rosary and um, not being afraid to talk to that stranger on the trail or in mass or the grocery store, because there's so many great stories that they have to share with us. And there's stories really that, if we think about it, you're allowing them to have, Lord, to help us experience you more deeply. So please bless Vivian in her writings, in everything that she's sharing, in the way that she's raising her family and being a shining example for those close to her and those that she's touching out in the world. And especially as she's writing this book and helping her to spread your word and draw people closer to you. We ask all these things in your sweet, precious, and holy name, in the name of the Father, and of the Son, and of the Holy Spirit. Amen.
Amen.
Vivian, if people want to get more of you in their lives, where's the best place for them to go or connect with you?
I would say Instagram. I'm public. It's Vivian G, Viviang. You can DM me, you can message me, and I will be in touch with you. Yeah, I'm pretty active on there. Just through many Hail Marys and all the different communities. So that's the best way to
Awesome.
reach me.
Awesome. Love it. Well, it's been a pleasure having you on today. Stick around with us for a second, but for everybody else out there, God bless you and thank you.
Thank you.